Hello, everybody. Welcome to our daily Lunch and Learn. My name is Greg Randall. I'm a technical trainer, and I'm looking forward to helping you with your questions today. So if you have anything, you can put it in the chat, and we'll begin in a few minutes. Hello again, everybody. This is Greg, and we're going to start now. We do have one pre-submitted question today from Sin, and so I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Let me see. Sin, I'm going to allow you to talk, and would you like to just summarize what you're asking about? Basically, Sin is asking if it's possible to save a file to a specified directory, and I'm assuming that, Sin, you mean in your local or your shared decisions. But if you could specify also what you're using for your server, if it's a local or shared server, that's important to know. So do you want to just kind of talk about what you're asking?
Yeah, hey Greg. Yeah, that's exactly it. Just to be able to drop a file in a known directory, specifically for I'm using the Adobe Sign module, and in order to send a file, you need to know the file path to grab it from. And with the temp folders, I'm not really sure if there's a way to know where a file is stored at.
Right, right. So we just started to build this out a few minutes ago, and I'll show you a few things. First, let's talk about where files are actually stored in decisions. And are you using a local instance or shared, or what are you using?
I'm just using our development servers, not my local, but
Okay, okay. So what I want to show you first is the services here, decisions, server. So if you look in your services and you look at decisions, then you will see that, let's see, where is it? This local system account, this is important. So basically what's happening here is When you store a file, it will go into decisions, and let me show you that in the File Explorer. Let's go to decisions. It will go file storage. It will go in here. Not in here, right? So basically, what you're looking to do is move it from this directory to a different one. And kind of the simple way you could accomplish this is in your flow. Let's see, I've got this flow here. Let's say you have a form and you upload a file to this form. So simple upload file button here. And this is outputting as file data for now. And after this, you want to create the file. So this step actually creates the file and puts it in that directory where I just showed you. So it's in the decision server directory. And I'm doing this dynamically. So selecting from flow, taking the contents of the file and the file name. And then from here, you're just going to move the file. So I'm taking the file name from the uploaded file, and I'm actually inserting the path of where I want it. So for me, I just put a quick folder on my desktop, and I'm going to move it here. And when you do that, it will actually move it into, like I said, from the server where it defaults to this one by using this move file step.
Okay.
So we can sort of test this out here. I'm not going to be able to see that. Let's try it this way. And I'm just going to take any old file here. Let's just do here. Let's do this PNG file. Okay. Now, move it here. So I know you can't see my other screen, but my other screen has is my desktop, and I just had the folder that I said I created, and now it's already moved here. So this is the image that I just selected.
Okay.
So that's how you can do it in a simple way.
Could I see the flow again?
Sure.
On the move file set, just the inputs on that one.
So both of these steps are found in file management. So if you go down here, click on file management, you'll see the create file step and the move file step here.
And then how did you map the move file?
How do you map it? Basically, you want
Or just the
to
file name,
select
so
from
you don't
flow.
need a
This is
path.
the way you can do it dynamically. Yeah, just take the uploaded file, the content, the file name here, and put your path in for wherever you want it to go to.
Okay, cool. Sounds
Alright.
good. Thank
Just
you.
a broader question for me, and I'm just curious, do you have like a series of set paths that you want to like send your files to? Like, for like project A, you're going to set it to path, I don't know, C drive, alpha project, folder drive, and then project alpha or project beta, you'll send it to this drive. Or is it all going to be like the same drive?
I was just gonna put in the same place. I just need to know exactly where to pull it from. That's the only reason
Gotcha.
why. Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I was just asking is because you could, obviously you can not just you don't have to have the move to as constant. You can set up system constants of default file paths where you always set to, and then you can, run a rule to determine which file path you want to move that file to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that I just need the one for now, but yeah, that's good. Good tip for the future. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, we do have another sort of pre-submitted question that Rob is going to talk about from James. And James, if you'd like to say anything further, I'm going to unmute you. You can talk if you'd like, but Rob is already knows your question and he's been working on it a little bit. But James, you are unmuted if you want to talk.
Yeah, I got Yeah, actually, talking over with Marvin
Man,
afterwards.
we got to start saying this is the FSU lunch and
Yeah,
learn,
I know,
right?
yeah.
Because we got all the
Man.
FSU people, right?
Hey, if you guys are willing to talk to me, I'll talk.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, when I go to Tallahassee, I'll say hi to you guys.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just, basically, I've got attachments, in a, case entity, attachments files that I want to email out as attachments.
Hmm.
But also in the email, I want to list those attachments by
Right.
name, so that whoever's receiving the email, it's just part of the email, and these are the attachments that are included. So it just says that.
Yeah, and
Um,
I know you sent in the chat the same solution that I kind of came up with. You got a handful of options. It depends on kind of how you want it formatted and how much building you want to do. But you said you did the join strings with special character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there is an issue with that with the HTML build. It doesn't do the line feed correctly.
Huh. Can you say that one more time? There's a problem with the HTML. How did you phrase it?
I'm using the HTML plain text,
Okay.
that thing that where you can just build the HTML into your body of your
Yeah.
text message or your email. And I use the join strings with special character with the line feed
Mm-hmm.
to get the names of the attachments. And then I just, link to that in there. But because it's HTML, I think the line feed doesn't work properly. It just kind of lists them side by side.
Interesting. So it lists the two strings like with no separator, even though you're doing the join strings with special.
Right. It's got a space there, which is great. These is readable, but they're not like, one after the other on different line feeds like I would like.
Yeah, you might be able to do some type of um string builder type step to build out that string. We have this thing called string builder, which I'm not too sure if it, and Jerry, you can stop me if I'm not walking in the right direction, but it creating a string builder, and you can close a string builder. It's to my the way that I rationalize it is it's kind of like using a create data step where you can create this bucket and it creates this string builder output data down here, create string builder data. You can open it and close it, and there's options to adjust HTML text in there. And that
Okay.
might help with your formatting. You can kind of
Yeah.
forage through it. And just for everyone else in the lobby, if you are interested in like the simple solution, I can kind of show you the quick one. Is we have a multiple file upload. You can get your files from wherever you want, but just for simplicity, we're joining strings with a special character, and we're just going by all file name. And then in my email, I went with the plain text because I wasn't going to do any of the formatting, and I did a file to attach count as well. So it says see the following attached files, and then it shows them all separately on files. So on mine, again, if you're listening in and you just want to see, the path of least resistance, and again, we can go back to the HTML thing, but just for the folks, you can go like that. And then my email will say, thanks for your information. See the following attached files. There's two, and it names them. Another thing I did build out for those that might be a little interested, and we'll bounce back to the HTML thing here in a second. Is to say
James, is
Yeah.
it you're saying you're using the merge HTML and not the merge plain text?
I'm using the join strings with special character. Oh,
yeah,
you mean, I'm sorry, yes, the merge HTML, yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm building links in there as well, and some HTML stuff that I need
Gotcha. Okay.
to
Can
be
you,
in there as well.
Robert, could you go ahead back to your example?
Yeah.
And just switch it to merge HTML. I want to see if we can make that, like replicate that issue. Because maybe it's something that we can send a DT for, or maybe there's just some minor thing that we have to change for something.
I think, yeah, I just figured it was the HTML editor, however it's doing that.
Before you switch it,
line feed.
oh, yeah, before you switch it, go click on it. Show, yeah, close out, don't save. Go back in. What I was going to say, Robert, is go ahead and show editor and go ahead and just Control A, copy this, and then switch it to and then copy it, and then close this, and then switch it to merge HTML, so you don't have to retype that data. Click off, back on. So I think it takes it to 0. Yeah. And so then you can just paste it back on. All right, save this, now run it. I'm curious to see if we can get the same. Because and since you're using HTML, I believe, yeah, go ahead. Put it in here. And then inputs, outputs, I wonder if we get the same thing.
Yeah, see, it just inserted all that CRUD in there. That's where I was having some problems building out my link too, because it kept putting those span commands in there. If I just tried to like build a link with the because what I'm doing is I'm linking to an assignment.
Yeah.
So I got the assignment URL and I just said, okay, just click here to go to your assignment, and built a little, you know, just a button. And but when I tried to just like in the HTML body there, you know, in the there, when I tried to like just say, okay, ahref equals, and then, you know, try to insert that, it put those span commands in there. So I had to build out that link with a join strings step, and I built the link, and then I could use that join strings output and use that as the link itself, and that worked. I've just built the HTML out in there.
Yeah, and then pass that in differently. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that was going to be the other recommendation that I was going to make. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, it looks like it did the same kind of thing there with the your file. It just kind of it does list them, but it doesn't list them with the line feed.
Yeah, well, and also this is the input of what it's passing in. I'm curious. I know we don't have an email server attached to it. Like I was wondering, like, what does that email look like? Like you probably have a better test off that. Like.
Yeah, I do. I got some, but
Yeah.
down, look at your output. So let me see what that body looks like.
This
okay, I guess it just lists what it's gonna send.
Yeah.
And you might
But
be able to play
does
around
look
with
like it.
that string builder with a pending HTML text and stuff like that, and giving yourself some line breaks in there.
Yeah, I think I could. Yeah, I might try that. Just when I get the output of that join, I'll just do another string build.
Or if you know what the HTML setup of what your thing is going to be, you could just have a create data step with the HTML created inside of it, and then you can merge plain text inside of it, and then pass in those values that way to create that kind of HTML package, and then pass it into the body via select from flow. That's another way you could do it. I'm sorry, not plain text.
Okay, because the plain text
HTML
will
body.
not convert HTML at all, right?
100%. Yep, 100% it won't.
Yes, that's for my. All right, I'll try to play it. I mean, it's fine because 90% of the times it's going to be one file attached anyway. But I do have multiple files, you know, just like you had there, where you can attach multiple files. So, you know, once in a while there might be a couple or so, and it's fine. It lists them out side by side. I mean, it's still readable. It's not ideal as far as, you know, I would like it, but I'll keep playing with it. I'm not gonna let this keep me from moving it up.
Yeah. We always appreciate that. Yeah, one more thing, just for everyone else on the sidelines, if you're doing something similar, just because I built it and I just want to show it real fast. If you did want to remove those extensions, you could also do a split string by character and then take the first and add it to a list, so that when you do that same process, and again, obviously we're not nailing James's thing around the head, but I'll just show it off because I made it real quick. When you go to send that email, if you do a split string by character with a period and then add the first entity to a list, you can then go through there and it will remove those file extensions. So you can say, see the following attached files, and it won't have .txt or .pdf or whatever.
Okay.
So just some, you know, an option. But I think I'll hand it back over to Greg. I see we have a couple more in the chat, and I'll let him kind of talk his way through it. I'm gonna stop sharing, Greg.
All right. Okay, so we do have another question from Sin. Sin, I just read your question a few minutes ago. Don't worry, James, I was multitasking, listening to you as well. But Sin is asking, is there a way to refresh the activity panel on a page when there's a folder change event, similar to how a report viewer can be refreshed automatically from a send folder change event step and flow? Great question. So, what I started to play around with, Sin, and you are still unmuted. Let me make sure, just in case you want to speak.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, I just built a page real fast, activity panel refresh. And you can tell me, is this what you're talking about? If you have a folder activity
Yeah.
panel, how to refresh this with the,
Mhm.
yeah, with the change event. So short answer is I know what you're talking about with the report viewer, and you do
Mhm.
have a setting to do that in your report viewer. I did not see a setting here. So I was wondering how you could at least do it. I did want to show you that there is a control to refresh the page. And this is probably not exactly what you're looking for, I think, because it's based on the folder change event. But if you wanted to add this control here, just to show you, I set up a dashboard real fast and you could refresh it this way.
Okay.
Is that helpful, or are you really looking for it to refresh automatically based on the folder change event?
Somebody brought it to my attention because we have it on one of our dashboards, so they were wondering if we could, do that automatically. So I'll show this to them and
Mhm.
see. But I just didn't know if I was missing something from the report or the properties
The properties, right?
on that.
Right. I don't see that same feature that we have, and I'm happy to look into it more. And I mean, maybe it's something that we could request a feature for, but I'll certainly find out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One more thing, because we've been talking with some people on our team, a lot of people didn't know, I didn't know, is that sometimes with the send folder change event, there's an additional step that you may want to utilize called send folder change event for current user, because if you have multiple people looking at the same dashboard or multiple people utilizing the same space and that folder change event happens, it'll change for all instances. But there is a step called send folder change event for current user, which will only affect that for the user that's looking at it at the time. That's just an add-on.
Yeah, that's helpful. We do use it sometimes for some of our reports that are heavier, and the data doesn't necessarily need to refresh for everybody who's looking at it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it said if you search for it for current user.
Okay. It looks like we do have another question in the chat from Sean. And Sean is asking, when I use the step load file or read all lines from text file, when you debug it, the error message is, and there's an error message that's output. I'm definitely going to need some more info here, Sean. Can you tell me a little bit more? Let me unmute you and you can talk more about it. Give me just a second. There you are. Okay, Sean, can you tell me more?
Yeah. Actually, my function is very simple. I just want to. I got some CSV file I need to load into database, and this CSV file have the quote at the beginning and end at each line. So I want to read it in and remove that quote before using the steps import Excel file or CSV file. That otherwise they will load the whole things as one column. So I try to add, I use these two steps, the load file or read all lines file from text file. But unfortunately, they are putting, they cannot read the file I selected. They put the OPT decisions in front of the path name. Let's see the C drive, the user, this kind of things. So I cannot open that file. I can read the data at all. I don't know how to. My colleague said it's due to our decision server. So decision is installed in a Linux server. But how to bypass this issue?
And tell me again, how are you importing the file? How are you getting the file? What's happening before the load file step or the read all lines step?
There is an input file.
Mhm,
I can open up. I can select a file from my local drive.
mhm.
I just select one as an input for the flow.
Mm-hmm. And then what are you doing with it after that? You're immediately trying to load the file?
Yes, I just try to load file, but this is the
Mhm.
first steps. It's already got the error.
Okay. This is not very different from what we're showing earlier. So this may not be exactly what you're doing, but the point is the same, is that you are inputting a file or you're uploading a file. And then instead of creating the file here, you're loading the file. So you're trying to use like a load file step.
Yeah.
So are you trying to move the document or are you just trying to read the data inside of it?
I read the data, then
You want to read
remove
the data inside of it.
Yeah, read it, then remove that quote, then we write into the new file. But yeah, that's
Write it to a new file, removing quotes. So, okay. So this part, so walk me through the process again, because I think you're loading the file. So when you use load file, read all lines from text file, when I debug the error messages, file cannot be found. So are you uploading the file from a form, right? Is that what I'm understanding? Or no?
No, I think you're
Yeah.
using the input file step.
Yeah. Just we set up a flow, then we put the input. We define the input.
Mm-hmm. Of the flow.
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind if I drive,
Yeah,
Greg?
go ahead. Yeah,
Thanks.
hold on, let me
I
stop.
think I
Oh,
somewhat
yeah.
understand. I'm any more clarify. It's because it's me. All right. So can anyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. So don't save this. We're gonna delete this. And I'm just gonna say this is called consume file. Consume file, we'll put that in here. And then I'll set an input. We'll call this file data input
Yeah.
because that's what we got to
Yeah.
get, right? That's what you got? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Awesome. Let me know
Yeah.
if I deviate away from what you're talking about. So we got this. And then the question is, in this process, you use like a read lines, right?
Yes.
Read all lines. Read all lines from text file, right?
Yep.
Cool. And the file we're dealing with is a CSV, right? That's the one we're dealing with?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then we do this, right? And so then what I do, so this is consume file. So now I'm going to create another flow. This calls the consuming, and we'll say this is consume file. And I'm sure you have some other process, but what we do here, right, we add it. Let me find, I think I downloaded a CSV. Download. And let me go to my file directory here, download, and we'll go to data, right? And then let me see if I recreate the error. So consume file errored out, and it looks like it is essentially the same error, a different file path because it's just we have different servers, but it could not find it. Okay, cool. So what we would do here, if you're trying to read all the lines from the text, what we could use is since this is a CSV, there is this for each Excel. If I can find this, for each Excel CSV in row. And what this does, it allows you to take in that Excel CSV row and decide what to do per row of that Excel or CSV. In this case, you can set it to auto select and then it will do both, but I can set it to CSV. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to place a placeholder here just so you can see like how it would interact. It's very much like a for each step, but what the difference is you have access to that specific row of data. So whatever that record is, if you want to say for these, everyone who starts with the letter A, I want to do something different with all the records that start on a first name with a letter B. And so you have that access here. And so what this allows us to do is now we can select from flow, grab that full file input, save file. And then now when I debug and I add this, you'll see that it will go through and iterate all of the rows, and I can decide what I want to do for each of that row. If I go to the output of this one, you'll see that it outputs that current row, and that's because that's the title. So you want to make sure that you always click this one to say ignore the first row because that's the titles. And now let me debug it one more time. I believe we should be fine. And let me know, and if I'm not addressing the question at all, and this is not what you're looking for, let me know. But here is the, like what would happen. So now you can now you can interact with this data here and determine what you want to remove and what you want to add.
Okay. So it's just I use the wrong steps.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. So that the steps have some problems. Because CSV file is a text file. You can't open it properly. Even I use a load file, you can't open that file.
So the load file, I'd have to look through the documentation. I'm not sure specifically what that what the load file step does in specific, but I think all that does is it tries to load a file from your file system so that then you can then use it. And maybe that's what you want to do. And I can research that step more. But if you already have a process that gets the file, like from a user or integration, and if all you need to do is iterate through the data and do something with the data, this step would be your best bet to integrate with it. Because now you're dealing with the actual data itself, not like some file data type where you have to convert the bytes to a string. And then once you convert the bytes to a string, then you can finally deal with the data, and then you have to turn it back to bytes. And so it makes it easier for interaction.
Yeah, I will try this. Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. I'll punt it back over to Greg.
If anybody has any other questions, let us know. Okay, VT, I'm going to allow you to talk. You're raising your hand. Hold on just a minute. There you are, VT. Okay. Go ahead, VT.
Jared, which error did you get? Which error did you get on the file upload step?
What error I got on the file upload step?
Yeah.
I didn't use a file upload step.
I mean the load file or read text lines, whatever that step.
Yeah. It's basically that I couldn't find the file. The same one that Shane got. It was just a different location.
But on that one you tried to use the file name, right? Which is not actually where your file is.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, you can use that step if you know where your file located. If you, in the file name, if you provide that with the full paths to the file.
No, I'm aware of that, but I think the still problem is then it's just dealing with the data of the file, and it's better to just forage through the Excel of that. But no, I'm aware that it's stored on the local system and you can interface with there.
Yeah, and I think the issue on Linux drive is that sometimes it's kind of hard to find out what the like a local storage for the file for decisions, and that's why it's been just like they said, it's prepended with the something like app/decisions.
That's right.
That's on Linux or container.
Yeah, no, theirs is a container of some sort with that OPT decision. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
All right, everybody. There are not any more questions. Then we will end our lunch and learn for the day. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, well, thanks again for joining, and we will see you next week on Tuesday. Remember that Monday is Memorial Day here in the United States, so we will not be here on Monday for Lunch and Learn, but we'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great rest of your week and weekend.